Hey guys, today we're gonna look at how to scrape weather data from somewhere, and we're gonna use Scrapy for that in Python. And if you have not installed Scrapy, please do go to scrapy.org. It's pretty easy, one line installation, and I already have it. So this is how you import it. It's as simple as that, and Scrapy is ready for you. So we got to find some weather data, and I think the best one of the good places is weather.com. So I'll go there. Yeah, that I'm in Delhi. It's pretty cold here, so you can see that 11 degrees, and it's 3:20 in the night. So a 10-day weather is tempting thing to scrape. So now we can just get this whole thing, isn't it? We can just get the whole of this nice tabular data from weather.com. Let's try and see what we can get out of this. All right. So before that, we need to call. Before we can scrape, we need to crawl. Right. So for the crawling, we can use the Scrapy spider um, class, and the way to do it is simply call inherited class. Let's say weather. Oops. Weather scraper spider. Right, because it's both of them, and then I'm going to call it Scrapy dot spider. That's what the class we inherit from. Then Scrapy expects a name for this, so we're gonna go give it a name, and we can call it the same thing. Then it also expects a bunch of URLs for it to start from. It's in fact it's an array, but because we have just one, otherwise you can give 300 here and Scrapy will go to town with it. We're just going to copy this URL here. This is our starting URL. Weather.com might block us. So let's see. That'll be interesting as a challenge. Web scraping is never a straight line. Um, then what we're going to do is okay. Now what has happened is you told the Scrapy spider to just go run with it. Okay. First of all, let's just save this file. Call it weather.py or something. And now because you've given the start URL, so you invoke the spider, it will simply fetch it. You don't even need to worry about fetching it. So, and then where does it come? It expects you to define a function called parse. You can change the name of this, but that's the default name it will come to. Here it will pass you the response object and the self, of course. Response object. Now, what do you do with the response object? You can do whatever you want with it. It has HTML. You can take regex and split it and do your own logic to it. You can, whatever you want to do with it, you can do. But there, Scrape again helps you with scraping a library called the CSS selector library, which you can extract using CSS selector queries just like you would in jQuery, right? Super useful, and the format goes something like this. It goes response dot css boom, oops, and then you put the CSS selector for here dot, and you call the extract function. It will get you the data into an array. Okay, so here for example you can call any CSS selector function just the way you call in jQuery, for example, if you're used to it. Let's say you have a selector with an ID, whatever, right? So I can call that. I can call the ID of that element and say ID article or something, and then it'll get you that particular element and do what you want with it. You mostly will be working with classes because we work with repeat data. So you're gonna, let's say you want to call a class, you call the class name, and it'll get you all the data for that the element. We extract the data and give it to you into an array. So this is the format we're going to use, and let's just see what the data looks like. Okay. So here I'm going to use, because I need CSS selectors, a good tool to use is the Chrome Inspect tool and Google Chrome, and then you will see that there you go. So for example, we need all this data, isn't it? Whether it's today, Tuesday, blah blah blah. So it's very interesting to me because date time, if you see the class date time always reflects the exact day of that, right? I wonder what the date itself will be. Yeah, if you see the day detail, it'll be that dot day detail could give us this. A dot day could give us date time, could give us this. It's going to be an interesting experiment because this is relative to today, Tuesday, Wednesday, blah blah blah. It's not very useful if you're, but you can, if you want to quickly show it, you can use that. But I think my more important one is the exact date itself rather than the day and the relative day. So my thing is I would go for the day detail and ignore the clear fix because that's just Java, CSS adjustments. So we're gonna take that, put that there. It's a class name, so we're gonna put a dot before it and extract it and push it into, I'll call it the same function. Let's say day details, all right? Day details function, not function, array, right? So it'll go into the same array. Let's get one more, which is, let's get temperature maybe. Where are we? Oh, here we go. If you can get somehow the temperature is what? This one? Yeah, high, low. Okay, maybe we need the description. I think that's very interesting because it says showers, fog and all that. Let's just see if we can get this part. Come to think of it, I think we need both. So it has a beautiful class name called description. That's the end of it. Let's just get that. So it's very rare that scraping is this easy and well defined. Sorry, description. And I'm just going to copy that detail there and then call description class and descriptions. Notice how I'm calling it with the plural because it's an array. So it's just a reminder to myself not to get confused. So now here's a weird thing. The day details will contain all the, I think this is the wrong way to call a class, so I'm just going to do that. All right. The day details array will contain all the days and unmapped to the descriptions part. Okay. So hopefully they'll have the same amount of elements so that we can map them, right? And because it'll be like an array of these things, 27, 28, 29, 30, like that. And then this is another array which is AM, PM showers, AM showers, blah, 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 right? So now you need to map them because if I, for whatever date I want, I should be able to get the description, the weather description for that date. Okay. So before we go into any more detail, let's just do that. Let's combine these two. And the way I know, we can do many ways. We can treat it in different ways, but I'm going to just simply use the zip function and Python zip function to zip these arrays together. So here's how I'll do it. For item in zip of day details, comma, descriptions. All right. Now what happens here is I'm going to make a dictionary combining these two. Okay. So item, all these items into all items maybe, I call it, equals bracket. Here it'll be day detail, right? Notice how it's a singular because the exact item, individual items of this, right? So here we're going to get inside item of 0, the first element will be the day details. And then I'm going to pull out the description here. Description. Okay. And I'm going to do item of 1. Cool. So now what I do with all items, I yield it back to Scrapy. Yield all items. Okay. Okay. So let's see if we run this, what happens. Okay, the way to run this is we've set it as weather.py. Yeah, weather.py. So we're going to call Scrapy, run spider command, and then give the spider's name, which is in this case weather.py. And all right, here we go. So we got something. We already got day detail, which is saying 9th Feb, and description, which has the entire the whole thing. It's actually there. You can see that the entire. Whew, that's not bad at all. So, but then it says some sunny here. You can see that, right? But it has all these HTML. So we got to remove the HTML. So I will use Beautiful Soup for that. Okay, it's the best library I think to tackle rogue HTML, and I'm just going to invoke the simple text command in it. So just install Beautiful Soup. Takes 2 minutes. I already have it installed. Always have it installed. So the way to do it is simply call uh, import Beautiful Soup. Okay, and copy that. And here, when this one, we can just ask it to remove the HTML by calling the text command. It's as simple as that, guys. Just take that, pass that string, and call it text, and then save it. And you should, if you run it, yes, there you go. Can you see this? 9th Feb, sunny. 10th Feb, sunny. Partly cloudy. AM fog, PM sun, AM showers. Okay, this might be a little weird to look at, especially if you're looking at this on your computer. Um, and now, what? Let's just see if we can save this into a piece of CSV file so that we can look at this in the proper light. So here's how you do this in Scrapy. So all you have to do is pass the output parameter, and give, let's say, weather.csv, and it will save that. Run it again, and it says stored CSV feed 15 items in weather.csv. So let's just see. Here we go, weather.csv. I'm going to pull this into, here we go. Look at that. 27 Jan, 28 Jan. It's missed one, but we're gonna not optimize here. 28 Jan. And now we can get in this, it's clean as well. If you look at it, it's clean as well, guys. Okay. So then all we have to do is get the high-low, the precipitation the same way. All you got to do is just go and say, okay, what is this defined as? Let's do one more, okay? Let's do, I don't know, maybe humidity. Oops, humidity. There's more data if you click on it. Let's see what humidity looks like. Okay, so humidity is class name humidity. That's all it is. So let's just get that humidity thingy going. So let's add humidity. This is how you sort of build on what you have done. So all you then have to do is just add humidity as a class name here, and maybe call this humidities. Okay, comma humidity. So pass and zip that, and that will be the third item. So you're gonna call it humidity, and item 2 of text. Bingo. Now if you run it, we should get the third piece of this puzzle. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I need a comma here. There you go. There you go. And then pass that again. There's the humidity. Where is it? Oops. I think I have to run this again because I think it's appended it. So I'm going to delete the data here. I'm going to crash and then run it again because I think it might have appended the data. CSV. Yes, as I suspected. There's something going on with the 27 Jan thing. We can fix that. But otherwise, you can see all the data pieces that has come out. Okay, I'm not going to sit and optimize that, guys. That I'll leave that to you. Should be easy. Um, I got you this far, didn't I? So if weather.com blocks you, which it will, most of these websites are pretty used to people scraping. If you scrape this multiple times, eventually you will see a 503 error return. I promise you that. This happens a lot. So I run a rotating proxy API service which scales to millions of IPs, and hundreds of our clients run millions of fetches like this every single day across the web from different geographies. Um, and basically, it makes sure that nobody can ever block you. So instead of calling, let's say, the weather URL directly, if you ever use a rotating proxy, all you have to do is call our endpoint and pass the weather URL itself as a parameter, as a URL parameter as shown here. You're going to, of course, pass the API key, which you can get by doing a free sign up. You'll get 1,000 API calls free. I'm sorry to be selling this to you. I feel weird about this, but then truly, if you want to do web crawling at scale, if you want to learn web crawling, you should stop where I, taught you all this, and that should be enough. But if you really want to scale it, you have to use rotating proxy service. Uh, and the best way to do it, I think, is to just call one API endpoint like this, and we handle everything. We pass it through a million plus, 2 million plus proxy servers in our network, all residential proxies, private and anonymous. HTTPS support, it can, and we automatically retry for you. We do web browser spoofing so that they, weather.com, thinks it's actually a web browser that's calling it. Um, we can even maintain sessions if you want. We send back cookies if we need to. We do a lot of little tricks like this, 30, 40 of them, so that you get your data. And our proxy networks is constantly pruned. And 1,000 of these calls are free. You can test it, and it's super fast. And you have concurrency. You can really build advanced scrapers because of this, because you can build up to 10 concurrent threads just in the free version, about I think 20, 25 threads in the pro version. um, and it has great support, great documentation, very, very simple to use. All you got to do is register and get this whole thing tested and change the URL here to that, and then it'll never get blocked. So even otherwise, even if you don't use us and if you use somebody else or never use the rotating proxy, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope happy, you know, um, yeah. Thank you guys.